What is up, everybody? It is your boy, GamerBoysRule_1999. We recorded the episode you are about to watch a week early. Unfortunately, about an hour and a half in to shooting the video, the audio goes completely blank. I am unable to recover it, so I had to use the camera audio for this video. That being said, still hope you enjoy the video. Gamerboy, out.
Dictation.
Dictations.
Hell. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
We back.
Welcome. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Are we wearing the same clothes? I don't think so. This is a new week. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Wow, continuity.
Nobody's on a business trip this week.
Right. What are you talking about? But I mean, same old, same old. Let's introduce ourselves. Hi, my name is Aaron Wiggins.
Hi, my name is Sarah O'Hearn.
I'm Cameron. Hey, guys. I'm the one who will be gone for this week. I ruined it, so now
But
we
you
have to
guys
do
won't
two in
know.
one day.
They don't know.
Well, now they do. I'll be honest. Like, I don't know. I got things to do.
Aww,
Sorry.
So nice.
But I promise the quality won't be bad, even though I'm gone. Because I'm still here for now, and we're just going to ride this through. What am I talking about?
I don't know. Pass the mouse over here.
Oh, yeah, I always forget
Well,
that.
now
Thank you.
it's Cameron's turn to start.
Oh, it is my turn to start.
You started then. I started now.
I think I want to save that other one for later, because that's a juicy one.
We should save the
So
juices.
I have a sad one, and then I have like a businessy one. Should I save the sad one for later? That's what we
Business,
usually
because
do, right?
honestly,
Yeah,
business.
businessy, yeah.
I'm
We
gonna fall asleep.
I'm not ready to go sad yet.
Not ready to go sad yet. Okay. So I was reading this. I immediately was like, "Ooh, this is going to be juicy." There's a lot to this one. This the title is "As Brexit Looms, Musicians Brace for the Worst."
Oh, dang.
So big thing in London happened. Brexit. I mean, like everybody knows. It's Brexit. Britain was like, "I don't want to be in the EU no more. I'm gonna go over
I
there."
don't want to be you.
Like, if I could chainsaw my land away from your land, I would do that. And it was this huge, crazy thing that, like, a really conservative party took over, and now they've separated themselves from the EU and their standards, and they've had these really crazy laws now on immigration to and from Britain.
Yep.
And musicians and, like, the entire cultural sector is... they just got railed. So, to give a kind of context, it said something about how much this... the creative industry created around £92 billion or $126 billion at current exchange rates for the British economy in 2016. So for a lot of people doing this is a big deal. And you know, like, classical music is such a big deal.
Yep.
Still in
Especially-
Britain. I mean, that's like that's.
Yeah. I mean, you're. Yeah.
I mean, that's classical music central. And I mean, I was reading this and I thought this was crazy. There's a European Union youth orchestra that was sponsored by the EU but based in London. They could no longer receive EU funding because they are based in a country that is not a part of the EU anymore.
Yep.
That blows my mind. Like, to have such a culture shift of be like, we can't stay afloat anymore. Like, there's actually no way because of these politics. I am now we are now limited to, like, a high school orchestra. Like, we're no longer funded by the government. We have no money anymore. They moved to Italy. Isn't that wild?
That's pretty wild. Yeah, no. Especially, like, as an orchestra, like, to just have to pack up and just move.
That's expensive.
To a different country.
But then it's like, yeah, they're moving to another country, but
They're still the European Union orchestra, you
Right.
know? So it makes sense, but it's also, like, I don't know.
as individuals, you know what? I'm thinking, like, they have to all move because I'm so used to the States where, like, it takes like 8 hours just to get to Tallahassee.
Well, okay.
But you
if you were to say from London to Italy.
That's like a train ride.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Because in Europe, like, the countries are way closer.
Yeah, no, I know.
They're like states, basically.
Yeah, it wasn't a physical move, but it very much is like an emotional move.
Yeah.
To think that you've been you've been receiving all these benefits, and like it seems like you're home,
right?
Kinda.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like kicked from your home.
Yeah.
It's like man, like that sucks.
And then you're also the London, they just don't have the European orchestra housed in them anymore because so they're missing out on culture and music.
I guess, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like even as musicians, technically, especially when it comes to being a classical musician, like you're gonna move regardless.
And that's
it
interesting
kind of
that
starts them off early.
And that's interesting that you bring that up because, I mean, like we were talking about immigration law. Like a big part of every musician's job is to travel to where the business is.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when you think of any musician, like the whole thing is to go out and gig, and like the farther you go, the cooler you are. Oh, dude, we had a gig in Atlanta. And suddenly you're like, whoa, look at this badass over here.
Yeah.
And so like people who are, and there are like huge events that happen in London, in Britain. Oh gosh, is it I think it's BBC.
Yep.
They do a thing. I think it's the Metropolitan Orchestra. Metropolitan Orchestra or Metropole Orchestra or however it is, but it's
just like we're violists.
I mean, like because of immigration law, like people are having so much more trouble not only playing in Britain but leaving Britain to play in other places.
Too.
Yeah.
Especially
that makes total sense. Actually, you got to go through a whole new security thing, right? Probably, I guess. Yeah. Huh.
And exporting musicians, like we talk about, like that is weird to think about it, like exporting, like musicians are good.
Yeah.
But really they are.
But like exporting musicians is a big part of London's economy, and they're kind of cutting that market, saying like, oh, we're just going to make it a whole lot harder to travel.
But then what about the individuals? Like, what if you are a part of this orchestra and you're not like an original citizen? Now, are you
Are you losing a member?
Right.
Yeah.
Because think about what if like you're from Australia and you're like playing with them, you got like scholarship or like you were invited to and your whole family moved over and everything, but you're not like a citizen. You're kind of like on a visa permit type thing. Like,
oh no.
Now are you forced to go back home, or do you know what I mean?
Holy crap!
Because that's a lost opportunity for not only that individual but the orchestra itself.
That's true.
Yeah, and so we were talking about how physically London and Italy aren't that far away. The European Union guarantees freedom of movement within the European Union, meaning you can go past borders and work in other places in the European Union without any trouble. Like no one's gonna.
Right.
But now that Britain's not in the EU, they don't have that liberty. So even if you're traveling in Europe, you have to, every new country that you pass through, you have to go through customs.
Well, damn.
So you have to stop at every border.
Oh my god.
And there's a chance they won't let you in.
Well,
holy shit.
Is it if you're going from England to, or if once you're in the EU, are you good, or is it just
no?
If it's because you have.
If you have a London ID, you're not a part of the EU.
Wow.
You have to stop at every border.
That's a big deal. That's wow.
That's interesting that I just read that because I didn't think that's how that worked with the European Union. But I guess it's not like states,
where we can just. It's kind of petty. It's not. I get that England made their decision. We're not part of this. Even though they really didn't
But you're saying they've been it for so many years. Why? Why not just let them?
Why go that extra mile to be extra? If they're not,
no, these are the rules. You can't do this anymore. It does seem kind of.
Right, it's okay. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as the musicians are safe and as long as they're able to, continue just to be funded and be able to create the music that they're intending to create. I mean, it's going to be another loophole.
Yeah.
But I mean, not a loophole. It's going to be another obstacle.
Obstacle.
But at the end of the day, I mean, regardless of whatever job, even if you're not a musician, I mean, whatever job you do, you're going to have to commute anyways. So it sucks, but it could be worse.
I just think Brexit is more of a...
Brexit was just...
It's a testament to just...
old ways of
exploding
thinking, and it's not working. Like, nobody thought it would work. Only the really old, rich, and powerful thought it would work.
Well, and that was the whole point, was they said that, like, the youngins didn't really vote. They didn't really feel... There's, like, the apathy as well. And, like, Brexit was sort of like a premonition that, you know, maybe in the U.S., like, the same thing would happen. Like, the apathetic youngsters wouldn't vote. I don't really think that's what happened in the U.S. I feel like a lot of people voted, but it was just, we all had
it wasn't enough.
Difference of opinion, or it wasn't enough. But Brexit was just, Britain exploded on itself, man. Like, they're just making themselves more difficult to be. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me.
And it's interesting now that, like, there's a difference between European and British.
Yes.
Like, now you have to, like people who are from Britain and London, like, they're British now.
They're
not European.
But they were British before, but now it's like...
Yeah, but now they're, like,
But they
just
were
British.
European,
They're
but
super
now
British.
they're
They're, like,
British.
double British.
They're ultra British.
But if you think about it, like... Like, England, like, screwed themselves over. I mean, think about it. Like, America, like, already did its job. You know, with the whole Tea Party.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then, like, all these other countries that were, like, under British control, but, like, kind of, like, separating themselves. And now Britain's just, like, we're our own entity, and everyone's
like,
just, like...
Americans did that because they had all of this land that nobody had touched yet.
Yeah.
Britain's just a little thing.
Well,
you know, like, what, are they going to
trying...
conquer the EU next?
Well, that's why, you know, back in the day, they're trying to colonialize everything. Because that's the only way they could have expanded. And then, one by one, like, you know, America had its whole revolution, and that sort of sparked, like, you know, the Haitian Revolution was first. And then it was the American Revolution, and then, you know, Raj and, I know, you're Jamaican. Aaron's Jamaican. It's different from being Haitian. I'm sorry. But, and then, like, you know, like, Indian Raj, and then, like, all that different shit. And, of course, Australia.
Australia.
It's a different country.
I know.
Yeah.
I realize.
But, like, you know, it's, and now they're sort of being the petulant child in the room that's like, well, then I'll have a party by myself. And it's like, well...
Okay, Melanie Martinez.
Well, you're going to suffer the consequences. We're going to lock you in your room, like, forever.
Right? Exactly.
You're not going to enjoy anything
until you
for
come back
a
out.
really long time.
Exactly.
And this is interesting. Opera houses are particularly vulnerable.
Oh,
because
no.
they do it's primarily Italian.
Oh,
and they have Italian singers that do it.
So does this just mean that Italy's gonna get dope again? Like, it's
just going to be this influx of, like, really, really Italian operas.
Yeah.
This is not a consequence. This is a benefit. We will have extra Italians.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, that's interesting. Cultural funding inflows. Okay, yeah, British music schools, public education.
Oh god,
that's gonna suffer.
And you know what's so funny that I think about it now, even from a classical musician standpoint, like for a while, like going to England or Britain to study music was just an ideal. Either that or like Germany and stuff like that. But like,
because not only is that like the home of Western music,
right?
Yeah.
That is, they get so much funding.
Like a center, right? And this is really like a center of like, I want to say like classical thinking. I mean, like, yeah, you can go to like Venice, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like now that whole ideal is like tarnished, and now you have to find. I'm not saying like you won't go to England to like study music, but like now it's kind of like I feel like that would scare people off.
I mean, the culture is there. The problem is the finances are no longer there.
Right.
Because now Britain has to do it itself.
By itself.
Right.
So everything that is public is now kind of feeling what America's feeling. They're just not getting the kind of funding that they were getting at certain times, you know?
But then, does that change the pound?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Well,
That's true. You're right.
Yeah, because I guess the European Union uses euros, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Because I
and
thought some
Britain
countries
uses
under
pounds.
I thought some countries under the EU use pounds as well.
I don't know. I would definitely. I mean,
I could be 100% wrong.
I have no idea.
I mean, I'm from Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, our education isn't as good either.
I haven't
don't know.
taken that many business classes yet.
Yeah. Dang.
Pan-European regulations on intellectual property.
Oh God.
Isn't that's a weird thing. So let me dissect that. Pan-European, I think what they mean is across the European Union, like
Yeah.
there were regulations for intellectual property
Mhm.
that the European Union put in place.
And now Britain has
And now
to
have
redefine
changed
all those
because
things.
Britain is governing itself.
Yeah.
So that's weird. Like, what could come from that? So, like, music made and copyrighted in Britain
Mm-hmm.
now
Now has to be like it's treated differently. I
Treated
suppose.
differently than it was.
maybe it's like
I don't know
taxed
how.
differently. Maybe it's like maybe if you copied it. Wow, that's weird. I don't
That's
know.
so strange. Yeah, that's a weird thing to like think about.
But
I
then
might
you
have
can
to
also
go
think
more into
about
that
it kind
later.
of like, it's probably going to end up like how like Europe would deal with American stuff, if that makes sense.
That's true. Well, isn't that a whole big deal? You know?
Yeah, but I feel like see for us. I mean, the way that trade's been. I mean, it's more normal now that they're having the whole Brexit. Like this is still kind of new for especially Britain and the EU. So they're still trying to figure out what the regulations are. I mean, not saying like American
Man.
trade is like.
Imagine
Crazy.
being a British lawyer right now.
Ooh.
That's a job and a
You
half.
can't. Oof.
That's crazy.
That is not a jolly good show.
I can't.
Let's
Let's check.
let's hear a quote from a Brexit supporter.
That just doesn't sound like a subject I want to hear right now.
No, I'm interested to know why.
No, I want to hear it, but
He's a member of parliament and a former minister who ran the culture department.
Okay.
He said that these anxieties are alarmist. We have some of the best orchestras, musicians, and conductors in the world. That has nothing to do with the EU. The concerns that musicians have are largely to do with the arrangements once we leave, and those will be in our gift. They will depend entirely on the immigration rules that we put in place.
sounds like something Trump would say.
It does, yeah. It's
very proud,
proud
isn't it?
British person. Well, that
Which
was
is-
the whole point of
I mean,
Brexit.
you should be proud in your country, but like, come on.
They're alarmist. All the musicians, all of them, that are worrying about this are alarmist. They are just, I mean, like, all your worries are stupid. Everything that you're thinking about right now that might be a problem is not a problem. And you're dumb for thinking
That
that
sounds
way.
like something.
We'll take care of you, is what he's trying to say. But he's saying it in a really proud way.
He's like, oh, you all are crying and whining because your arrangements will be worse. They will be the ones who are thanking us in the end. We have the better idea.
I'm gonna lock myself in my
We do.
room. And Jesus Christ.
Mom sent me to bed and I'm mad.
Oh no.
That sounds crazy. How is he a member of parliament? I mean, I don't live there. I guess I can say whatever the fuck I want.
I mean, politics are crazy, goddamn. All
This
over
guy
the
sounds like a
place.
big old baby.
Damn. Well, I mean, you know, it like if you ever delve deep into like Australian politics, it's hilarious. Because I mean, they have all those like weird shit. Like somebody thought that like that was like the influx of the like video games. Okay. Like video games cause like violence, you know, in children, and that was the whole thing. And that was a big political argument of like, well, art shouldn't be censored, and if video games are art, then we shouldn't censor video games. You know, and that's the like really logical like way to put it, but it had to be spelled out for Australian
For them to get
politicians. Yeah, for them to get it, and it was always like a whole thing a couple of years ago. But yeah, I don't know. It's politics are crazy everywhere, man. It's just when you're in your own country. Especially if you're in America, like with our media right now is very focused on us. We're always very focused on us. But, you know, the world's crazy. And on
It's
fire.
almost like they're trying to say, like, if we keep a good attitude about it, things will be okay.
Yeah.
Like, if we just say, like, you know, we're going to be the ones that prevail in the end, I promise, it'll just happen.
They're deep in denial, I guess.
Like, that, I can't imagine the struggle.
Just a river in Egypt.
Because, like, these people are like, okay, so we had so much work everywhere else, and now you're saying that, like, we don't have free passage from every country. Like,
That's a mess.
Yeah,
like,
it's a
there are
lot.
possible fines for having to take our stuff over every border that we have to go through.
But we're gonna make arrangements for you.
No, they're saying that those previous arrangements...
Yeah.
No. So, to do with the arrangements once we leave, and those will be in our gift.
Oh, okay.
So, as in,
understand.
no, it's not going to be worse. It's actually going to be better.
Oh, fuck. You're
So,
right.
like, because we cut off ties and cannot freely move between all the European Union countries
that's
anymore,
crazy, actually.
your music life is going to get better. Your career is going to explode.
How?
How?
Because music is
How?
literally the integration of different cultures.
Yeah.
Together.
You killed
Not
it
just
with, like, these
countries.
crazy isolationist policies. How is
Yeah.
anybody going to get anywhere?
It's true. You're right.
Like, what do you mean they'll be in our gift? They will depend, they? Who's they?
Yeah, what are you
Everybody?
talking about? man?
They.
Everyone-
All the union. The
Everyone
union
will-
at large.
Everyone will bow down to Britain. Damn.
It sounds like a little kid. He's like, everybody will bow down to me. It's like, go to bed, Tiggy. No.
Go to bed. Lock you in your gas chamber. So dang. It's a
Yep.
lot, man.
Yeah, some people are like, you know, the UK is a thriving cultural scene and might not disappear overnight, but over a 50-year period, who knows? We recognize the need for classical musicians to tour across the EU without prohibitive restrictions and to regularly move goods on a temporary basement.
Basement.
Temporary basis.
They're gonna live in our basement.
That was the
temporarily.
current spokesman for the culture ministry, saying, "We hear you," essentially.
Okay.
Doesn't mean anything's going to be done,
Yeah, no.
but they are heard. Ooh, hello.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh.
Ruth Gibson, 32, a viola player, originally from Ireland, but who is
Hey.
now based in London,
From
rolled her
Ireland.
eyes.
From Arlen.
They were asking her about Brexit because she was from Ireland and then moved to London and then Brexit happened.
Oh,
So,
shit.
living in that EU stage, you
Yeah.
know, and now all of a sudden it's gone, and it says, honestly, I'm trying not to think about it. We're freelance musicians. More uncertainty is the last thing we need, to be honest.
That sounds like a violist.
That's a violist.
That's a
standpoint.
violist and a half, honey. Damn.
She said, look,
Listen,
right now, I don't have the energy.
my whole life is on fire. I'm a violist, so I know. I know the struggle.
Oh, that's cute. On the program that evening, she added, was Mozart's Symphony No. 40, music by an Austro-German composer being played by a London-based ensemble whose members come from the European Union. Being played in London.
Damn. Got him. Ooh. Huh.
Yeah, that's the end of the article, but, I mean, that's a lot to unpack. A lot is going on with the whole Brexit movement, the cultural movement. Everybody's running, because, like, it's like how in America everybody runs to New York or California if they want to get big in music.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, because, like, nowhere, like, everywhere else is just not...
If you're in Florida, you can run to Miami. But that's very significantly Florida, you know?
Mhm.
That's like if you want to get big in the state. But that's not the country. If it's the country, it's New York and,
Mhm.
yeah,
In Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Mhm.
So, bringing it back to America, I have this article that its title is Trent Reznor, You're Seeing the Fall of America in Real Time. Which
Hold on,
means-
we all have to sing Star Spangled Banner before
Okay, go.
we begin.
All right. Everybody go?
That's not the Star Spangled
No,
Banner.
it's not.
I can just see all
dislike.
This is where they click
This is
off.
not patriotic! We're talking about England! What?
Oh my god.
Here's your pitch, everyone.
It's very late
Oh, say,
in the day
can
for
you
us.
say?
All right.
Anyways,
So, The article says Trent Reznor, you're seeing the fall of America in real time, but it's not. It's an interview with Trent Reznor that basically goes through his entire life, which I was like, I don't want to read that. I don't care. I want to hear Trent Reznor's views of America, which is basically, it's very anti-Trump. And yeah, I mean, Trent Reznor is a super emotional guy, you know. 9 Inch Nails, he's super he's very angry all the time. You know, he wrote fucking Closer, which is like the crazy, you know, he wrote Pretty Hate Machine and like all this stuff. His recent album, Bad Witch, which you've listened to some of it. I don't think, did you listen to all of it? Or no?
No, I couldn't get past the title track, if I'm being completely honest with you, man.
It's so interesting to me because in the article it says like, the title track was basically like, you know, I'm just upset that it's like, you know, we elected Trump and like it's our fault and we look like fools and blah blah blah, and that's like the whole point.
Well, the president represents us, so
Yeah.
if he's a fool, we look like fools.
That's very true, and I agree. And yeah, but I mean, I don't know. He's the hyper left, sort of really angry point of view about Trump, and like I get it, but I'm also like, well, that's not really gonna get us anywhere. Like,
it's not going to help
It's
being
not gonna-
emotional about it.
Yeah. To be fair, that's Trent Reznor's whole brand.
Brand?
Yeah.
His bland brand?
Yep.
It's just...
Yeah.
Like emotional music, like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like, damn, you know?
I don't know. I read this article hoping that I would be like, oh man, that's a really good quote for, you know, from Trent Reznor about America.
And it's more
really
just like, yeah.
Trump, and like I feel that on an emotional level. Like I'm not a Trump
But I don't
supporter.
feel that on like a hear level.
No.
Like, it doesn't stimulate anything.
Not really.
It doesn't make me want to do anything. It just makes me feel
makes
sad.
you feel right.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I think the last thing that America needs right now. It's late. I'm sorry, guys. Is somebody chastising us for a bad decision that we made last September. You know, and like we need to make better decisions in the future. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 2 September. You're right. It's late.
It takes an optimistic view
Yeah.
to really push things farther.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like this movement of what's it called? Oh gosh, I have to burp.
Mm-hmm.
This like rap is getting happier.
Yeah.
Ain't that weird?
That is weird. Really weird.
Because like there's a lot of people that like
No,
I don't mean lyrically. I mean how it's made, like what chords they use. Like the happier rap is becoming more popular. Like rap before, like rap in the past, like if it was written in like a major key, it was like a love song.
I get it.
But
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of rap now, like if it's written in a major key and has an uplifting kind of sound to it, a lot of them talk about like things are going to be okay, and like you should talk to somebody, and like friends are cool, you know, like
Yeah.
just stuff that kind of people just want to hear when they're sad, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's not like because rap has its roots in like R&B, and it goes back and back and back and back and back, and like a lot of that was just to like love songs and things like that. But now they're starting to open up emotionally, I feel like, and I think that's good for the people who listen to rap and want something to connect to emotionally, who are struggling. Because otherwise you're just gonna hear like a happy rap song and it's like just about how much money they have or something.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. I was wondering, like, when Trump got elected, I was like, what, you know, influence is this going to have on music and, like, thoughtfulness in music? Because I feel like a lot of our pop music at the time was, like, really, like, I have money and blah, 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 or I don't have money, or and I'm sad. I'm like, there's not really a lot of thought to this. And now I wonder, are people going to start thinking about...
A lot of pop music now
I
is...
see a lot more people focus on like different movements and different things like that. Like, if you notice, like I feel like kind of to add on, like I feel like a lot of music is really trying to just be like, look,
Yeah,
we know everything right now is just like shitty.
it's
but,
not
like,
great, yeah.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. Like look at things like what's the one song? I forgot the actual name. It's like the suicide hotline number. Like if you think about it, a couple years ago, like that's not a thing that would have happened.
That's
and now
true.
you see like artists and rappers like really try to reach out to the people that's listening to them because they know it's kind of like when you know your friends like going through something when like, you try to like
reach out.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
you know, text your friend and be like, hey, like, look, I know things are rough.
Yeah.
And that's becoming more okay now, and I think that's good.
But I think it's definitely a lot positive because a lot of like rap hasn't had the best track record.
Yeah.
So it's good to see the shift.
Yeah. No, I agree. And actually, that's really interesting to me because a lot of like I like rap music. That's that way usually. And I started listening to Tribe Called Quest like around the time that Trump was being elected, and like their earlier music is like super happy. Like I played for you Ham and Eggs, which is really just like I like food. And I was like, oh, that's a really nice, like, wholesome rap song. And then their most recent album, We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service, it came out, like, when the election was actually happening.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So it's such an interesting, like, album because it's, like, a time capsule of, like,
what was everybody going, like, what was America going through at that time?
And it's so filled with anxiety.
Like, that could be, like, in a history textbook later on.
Really, it should. And it was also...
like, because pop culture is big.
Important.
And as big, like, as little as it may seem to a lot of people, like, a lot of the stuff that goes on Twitter and goes on Instagram, and, like, that was a big part of history before, like, they were a really popular band before. If they come out now and make a statement, that could, like, make waves later.
Yeah.
Like, if they keep their legacy going, like, into points of turmoil and things like that, like, that's what puts you in textbooks.
Yeah.
Like, honestly and truly.
Pretty much. But it's such an interesting... Go listen to... After the podcast... I keep telling everybody to listen to things during the podcast. But listen to that album, and then listen to their first album. And yeah, that's after the podcast. Yeah, it's totally different. It's so dark. It's so dark and anxious and
when you brought up
crazy.
When you brought up the Suicide Hotline song that Logic came out with, Aaron, are you feeling okay?
You
I'm
good?
still thinking about like the fact that we're
living history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's because it's like nighttime or whatever. But if you really think about it, like even in history books now, like you see tweets in textbooks.
Yeah, it's true. Oh God.
Sorry.
All Donald Trump's freaking tweets are gonna be in textbooks. I just realized.
I'm excited for the future. Like,
you think
Americans that are just gonna be like, what the hell happened?
You guys think Covfefe is gonna get in a textbook?
And they're gonna like try and dissect it from a historical standpoint, like from a psychological, a sociological, and a historical standpoint. Try and explain what Covfefe was, because that tweet is so interesting.
It's
because
so
Covfefe comes after a period, so it's like it's this tweet and then period and then Covfefe. You're like, how did you fuck up so bad? You keep...
well, okay, so on an iPhone, though, if you double space, then you have, like, a period. So maybe that's what he did. Like, you know?
Oh,
That's
so you're saying...
possible.
Okay, so, like, he wanted to type something.
Yeah.
So, like, he's sitting in his chair. Right? He's in the Oval Office. He's sitting in his chair. He's writing another tweet, another saucy tweet. And he's like, okay, I bet he hasn't put the period yet. He puts a space, and he's like, do I want to continue this sentence?
Let me put another space.
I don't know.
Oh, he doesn't know yet.
Like, I don't know if, like, because you only get 140 characters,
That's
so, like,
very true.
maybe I could just put out another tweet.
Do you think
know?
he
like,
thought this much about it? I don't think so.
He probably
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he thinks, you know. That look.
Oh, no, it was me yawning.
Oh, okay. I got you. But, like, so he's hit space once.
Uh-huh.
And he gets a call.
He gets a call?
He gets a call.
Okay.
From Stormy Daniels. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow. Hot takes.
Yo.
Dang.
He gets a call, he picks it up, he isn't really thinking, he has his phone in his right hand, he hits space again, because his thumb's already there. So it makes a space.
And he wants to write...
What did he have to do to write Covfefe, though?
I thought he was going to
Because
say...
that's where the period comes in.
News coverage?
Hmm?
I thought it was like, it was all the crazy media news coverage. And then he wrote covfefe, and the thing about our beautiful president is he just doesn't think things over after he does them. Which is why he has to apologize so much, because he just says everything on his mind, and then he just is like, I didn't mean to say, like, literally recently.
Did he delete that tweet and then repost the tweet he was trying to tweet?
No, he left, that was the whole thing, is he left it up, like, the whole night, and then he just deleted it. I don't think he said what he was going to say.
So he didn't repost what he wanted to say?
No, he made that tweet, he went to bed.
That's such a proud statement, to be like, no,
Donald
you
Trump.
ingrates. I knew what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I knew that you know what I'm trying to say, you're just making it a joke.
And the PR people, I think they were like, he knows what he's trying to say. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Just give him a minute, some
That's
time.
your
I
job.
feel so bad.
Yeah.
Trump's PR people, because
Yeah.
they're just.
They must be constantly hearts pounding, sweat dripping down their face.
They
like,
have a job. Do you
They
know what I
do.
mean?
They
Like,
got a
you
job
can't take
and a
their
hat.
boards.
you can't get paid enough
You can't.
to do that job.
You couldn't pay me anything.
I'm surprised they're not up and leaving.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure somebody left.
Yeah, everybody's leaving.
Trump probably
There's-
fired him before they left.
Oh.
You're fired! I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're fired.
No. Alright. Aaron just deflated like a sad balloon. I'm sorry for bringing up Trump. We just did like 10, 15 minutes of Trump.
I mean, no matter what your stance is on him, I feel like there's a lot to make fun of. Like, my dad's a hardcore Trump fan.
Oh, no.
And sometimes he'll laugh at stuff that's on the news. Like, it's just funny. Sometimes it's just funny.
Aaron's real shocked right now.
I'm fine.
No, Aaron. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. You can watch the news and laugh at it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, at this
At
point,
least it's more entertainment than anything.
At this point, I think you can only laugh. I think we've all run out of tears.
But then again, that's not a good mentality.
To
You don't
just
want to just laugh,
No,
you
yeah.
know. You should.
You also want to vote.
You should be paying attention and taking everything literally. But I don't know, joke about it first. You know, like sometimes I think it's funny a lot of the time.
You know, that's how you deal with tragic situations.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just laugh.
It might be just an underlying thing with me where I feel sad about it, and like I'm just trying to make a joke to make myself feel better. Help.
Hey, Aaron, what's your topic?
Help. just go into like this manic state of like like just start freaking out on
Oh
camera.
my gosh.
Oh man. Okay, I'm done. I'm
Scary
done
lady.
Are
talking.
you still on the first topic?
I just finished my.
That
first
was my
topic.
topic, her topic, and now it's your
Oh, now it's
topic.
your topic. Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes,
It is your turn. What did you
Oh,
have
I
lined
felt
up?
like I already talked.
No. No.
We're just starting. We're not
Yeah.
even halfway there yet. I don't
Yeah,
You
think.
know what? Kind of to piggyback on the whole.
Pity back.
I love P. Diddy.
I'm
Me too.
To piggyback on kind of the earlier conversation regarding Brexit and classical musicians. So, interesting story happened between violinist Zenebra Bauer
Wow.
and the concertmaster William Purcell from the Cleveland Orchestra. Long story short, you know, now, Bauer, her idea of what her main goal was to do is, you know, to get the attention of, you know, concertmaster, get his wisdom, you know, different things like that. And I guess the situation was, you know, she invited him to get drinks, you know, them talk, you know, converse, because, you know, especially being musicians, like, we you know, it's important for us to fellowship and try to, like,
Yeah.
you know. Long story short, homeboy tried to,
Oh, did you try to like get on her?
oh, straight up. Like, they were fine, everything was cool. He invited her back to his house to, like, smoke some cigars or whatever, and then, boom, right in the kisser.
Did she
yeah.
explain?
Okay, so wait, re-explain to me who he is and who she is.
So
he
He's
is.
the
they
concertmaster.
both, I'm guessing,
Explain to me
played
a
for
concert master.
Oh wait.
concertmaster. Do you want to explain?
Wait, is he the concert or is he the director?
He is the concertmaster.
Oh.
And she is who?
It's just a violinist.
Just a violinist.
So she's not a stand partner. She's just in the
There's
violin
nothing else,
section.
yeah.
She a second violinist or a first violinist?
It just says
Say.
violinist.
Okay.
She probably second violinist. Is pretty
Damn. Females step it up.
But then,
oh, no.
That's a
That was from
throwback.
last episode.
Yeah,
If you haven't watched that
last
one yet.
week.
Last time you beat a couple hours ago.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Well,
so
damn.
basically, concertmaster. I want to be smart, be like, it's the master of the concert. But
He's
like,
the first chair, first violinist.
which is like the most important.
It is. It's
Oh.
the person that everybody
tune
tunes to.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody
and,
looks at them. Like,
Yeah.
let's say if you're like in a professional chamber orchestra, like, and you don't have a conductor, you always look at concertmaster.
he's the best violinist. Yeah. In the orchestra.
Oh, I got 1,000 steps.
Oh my
Didn't
god, I'm
move.
proud of you.
Sitting here.
No, yeah. So long story short, he basically tried to like, force himself. Like he was. It says once in his room, she said he began aggressively kissing her, opening her buttons, pushing her into the bed.
Okay.
She says she was stunned and horrified and found him, and she fought him off. At least she fought him off and ran home. But basically, like. After that, like, he threatened her. It was like, nobody better hear about this, da da da.
Oh my god.
She tells her best friend like, tells all the news media.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and it's just so funny. It kind of goes back into our or my little tangent not last episode, but first episode.
Yeah.
People have this idea that in the classical music world, everything is so posh,
Yeah.
perfect, and like everybody, like, and again, conversation I have with my mother, she was just like, oh, classical music, they're so like uptight.
Yeah. They're
I'm not gonna sit there and say like there isn't that stigma within the orchestra, because let's be real, you're gonna have your people who feel like they're very much, oh, well, I've been playing for 18 years and I'm 16, and I'm like, what?
That doesn't make any sense.
Right, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like, no matter where you are, everyone's human. Not
Yeah.
saying that this is a human thing to do, but
Yeah, it's an
not
animalistic thing to do.
right.
It's
Not everything's what it seems, and so it's interesting to hear a story like this happen, because this is not probably the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like
If
because
that's
it's
not
coming
common in the classical music world, then this coming out is probably like.
but the
It's
thing is,
just-
who says it's not common?
It probably is common.
It seems like it was such a situation like that, because again, think about
I was
it.
shocked
What
that
if
she
is
invited
second
him
line?
out for drinks. I was like, wow.
Well, it seems that she probably like grew fond of him because he's like
He's
they
conservator,
do
they
lessons
probably
and stuff
have.
like that.
Oh,
So it's
you're
one
right.
of those like, give me wisdom type things.
Honey.
And I think she had good intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I
I'm
mean-
not saying like it's her fault or anything. I'm just like,
But I feel like if she had the intention of going out to have sex with him, that would have been in the article.
that's very true. Yeah, you're right.
So, if it's not there, then I don't think there was any consent.
Consent,
No,
right?
and there's not consent, and that's the thing. It's just, it's weird to talk about
In context of what?
as a woman. Like,
Right.
I'm just shocked at the lack of fear that she would have, because, like, I would be afraid to ask a man out for drinks and not be,
Worried that
worried
something-
even on any level.
It's like you being a part-time employee going up to the CEO of a different gender and being like, "You want to go have a drink?"
It's strange.
Like it's strange, and it seems like too good to be true. Like
And
too much of an opportunity.
should be able to happen without sex being on the table.
But then
100% in an ideal world, but we don't live
But
in
we
an
live in an
ideal
ideal
world.
world, and
And-
it also kind of goes into the whole idea where it's just like,
When does, and I don't want to victim shame or anything like that,
Right.
because that's awful, and I believe that she was taken advantage of, and but like when's
there's a
the
level
line
where
when you should be I don't know what to say.
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like in
It's
this
terrible.
context, because she technically did go out of her way to go like have drinks, like have a one-on-one. It's different if like they were with friends,
Yes.
like after a performance,
Mhm.
and then this all happened. Then it's like, oh yeah, but
and also, like, to be fair, you can be raped in
Anywhere.
in a relationship.
right,
If anyone says no, you stop.
it's right.
And
No is no is
No
no.
is no is no is
is
no.
is
And,
no is no.
yeah, so this is 100% his fault. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting to me that she.
It's just a weird decision to
Yeah.
have made.
Right.
Like maybe she seems a bit uneducated as to the world that's out there.
Well, maybe she is, and she's just very feminist and very like, I can, because he should respecting me, and that's very, if she is that way, I don't know,
Right.
because we don't know from the article, and I don't know her, so I don't know. That was the thing that shocked me first. But I don't know. It was interesting.
It sucks that the realistic view is that you have a good chance of being raped.
Yeah.
And that's like, that shouldn't be a real world view. Like, a woman shouldn't have to walk outside and be like, there's a good chance someone's gonna abduct me.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
That-
the truth.
Yeah.
But that's the realistic view for women.
Mhm.
The optimistic view is that they're not gonna get raped.
Like, how often do you guys, like, if you were to go out, would you just walk around alone?
I don't like going places by myself.
Oh.
For me, and this is gonna like kind of go into like a whole minority thing, but for me, especially nowadays, like I feel like being a like African American male, like I already have like a resting bitch face, and I just feel like me going any place by myself, like it's just not going to be a good mix. But that's just how I view things.
I mean, and especially around here, like Trayvon Martin happened like down the
Right.
street.
Exactly.
To be honest, like, I don't know. I think there's fear in the air, like just outside. I mean, you know how I feel about Trump and how politics. So like, I don't know. That kind of bravery is like, I kind of admire it, but I'm also kind of like, girl. Girl.
That is like that's
Girl.
a recipe for
That's just how I
disaster.
feel. It's just like, girl, like, But fuck this guy.
But it's just it sucks that it does come from the classical music because I just feel
Still,
like
yeah.
you would again go back
A certain
to
level of professionalism.
right.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, it's kind of like any type of music industry. I mean, think about it. Like
Yeah.
people, especially like if you want to like make it big in like rap or like in, like pop and stuff like that. Like you hear all these stories of like how like these like artists had to like do it with like CEOs and stuff like that. Like look at Kesha.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
That
God,
whole
Kesha.
situation
Oh my
where
God.
it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, like you went through all of that just to get to where you were. And in this case, what if she, I don't know, if this didn't transpire, like maybe if she were to stay silent about it, like she would
And it sounds like she was planning to, right? Like only her best friend went to
Ooh,
the
yeah,
news about
right,
it.
and then her best friend was the one who was like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Like,
Right.
But if you think about it, like if she were to stay silent about this, I mean, yeah, like she might. I just feel like that's a world of fear that nobody should ever feel. Like you shouldn't be afraid. Because now think about it. You had someone who you idolized, looking at
okay.
like props and masks and being like, wow, you're so good, and now just being like, wow, like I'm scared you're going to like.
Yeah, no. And also, and we can talk about the responsibility of the concert master or any section leader to make your section feel like you're a family or your friends
Right.
or you're, trusted or responsible. Because it's true, you have to talk to the concert master if you're in that, you
Right.
do. You have to have a relationship. You're going to. Like, and so
To have
you
that
can't
trust
really be, regardless of how good you are on your instrument, you can't really be an unsafe person, But then, you say like, well, rape is, and something like that is animalistic, like there are animals who rape as well. And but we're not animals, we're humans.
Right.
And the difference between us and gorillas are that we make decisions that are responsible. So we might have these urges, but we can say, no,
And it
I'm
kinda,
not going to disrespect another human being like that,
To add on to what you were mentioning earlier about concert masters having responsibilities, it's interesting that you mentioned that because it's kind of like with any leader, like you would think the idea of like having this leader is like not only you but like other people collectively have trust in this person. I mean,
Right.
of course, when it comes to orchestras, like it's all based off skill. I mean, it's based off of skill and personality at the same time.
Yes.
Because you could be good, but like you could have a good first and second chair.
Yeah.
It's all about who you know. I mean, you got to be
Right.
good at
100%.
connecting with people
Right.
Yeah.
to
Right.
get a chair like that. I mean, I've heard. I'm not a part of the classical world at all, but I have heard that getting a symphony seat. I mean, not impossible.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So like, you've really got to impress somebody,
Yeah.
not just in the way you play,
No.
but in the way you.
Act, you talk,
Act, you
everything.
talk.
I mean, you have to be the right
Connections.
fit,
Yeah.
and there's only one person maybe that's the right fit,
Like,
and that's where that seat's going.
There
to.
are so many fantastic musicians who are just assholes who are not going to get
Yeah.
anywhere because they're not. You can't hang with them, and it's weird because like they're going to make their own music, like they're going to be great, but they're not going to.
And you want to hang with them so bad.
But then they're
That's how I
just the
feel
worst.
about
Yeah.
one of my friends. Oh, he's so good. He's going to Berkeley.
Oh.
And I want to hitch a ride. So bad. But he's such a dick. And
Why is he your friend?
What type of friends do you have?
He's so good, but he's such a Keynesian. I just feel that.
Okay.
You could have said so many things.
Is he your friend because he's good?
Oh. So we had a class together.
Okay.
And we bond on some things.
Mm.
But he just has views that, like, not necessarily political views, just music views in general that I just cannot get behind.
Okay.
But he's very musically advanced.
Okay.
And he's like self-taught, and he's amazing at guitar.
Okay.
And he makes these very, very harmonically rich pieces that he does, and oh man, it's good stuff. I would tag it if I knew it, but then I just called him kind of a prick. So
maybe don't tag him. Yeah.
maybe don't tag him.
Yeah.
But I promise you, it's good.
Huh. Is he just a prick because you don't agree with his music views, or his music views like?
But it's also in how he
Racist or
treats
something, I
people
don't
too. It's more like he has these views that I don't necessarily agree with, which would be a personal thing.
Right.
But it's also how he kind of like says that my views are wrong.
Okay.
It's more of a thing where like he can't like he's not as
open.
open-minded enough to understand that
Understand other people's
people
views.
have different views than him, you know? And he really just wants to surround himself. So it's hard to talk to him because he wants to surround himself with people that think like him.
Oh no. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, no.
It's not really open for
But then
discussion.
again, could you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, most of the time we pick our friends based off of like our
Yeah.
Yes.
beliefs. Not saying that like. I mean, some people like to have like a ring of friends, like some friends who like believe in the same thing, and some friends who have like a different opinion, but like can understand. So I mean, even though like he's a dick, like you can't.
I'm just
blame
overly
him to
nice,
wanna
like-
be.
Yeah, no, I agree. But to not be open to somebody else who
That's
has
also-
a different point of view.
But then again, that kind of goes back into the whole where do your morals stand? Because from him, maybe that's just.
Well, yeah, but then
good.
like if you just surround yourself with yes men, then who knows? You could go into a manic state and be Fousey Tube and just stalk Drake, you know, and nobody's gonna be around you and say no because they're all yes men. So that's when shitty shit like that happens. That's a throwback. That's a throwback to last week.
But yeah, it's going back to the whole concert master topic. It's just it's really interesting to see how you could be someone who's in power, especially like being a concert like supposed to be a leader that people are supposed to follow, and then you use that power to your advantage.
Yeah.
And I just think that's shitty because it's like, who do you trust then? Like, should I trust? I'm not saying I shouldn't trust my section leader, but like,
You should
but
be able to.
should you right? Like,
Trust
is that
That should be a part of the job description.
right?
Yeah, you should be somebody who's worthy of trust.
Exactly. So it's just like if you're not holding up your bargain, then one, how
It's-
did you
you're
get
not
to
doing
where
your
you
job
are?
right.
Right. How did you get to
Hey,
your point?
yeah.
How did you?
Is there a light at the end of the tunnel for this story, or did it just kind of go
The
under the
light
rug?
at the end of the tunnel is be a violist. No, I'm just kidding.
Then
but
you don't
I mean-
have to talk to the concert master at all.
No, but I mean, I'm glad that it was made public.
Yes.
Because I'm glad it was made public.
No, I
just because
Not glad that it happened.
I'm
No.
not glad. Right, I'm
Yeah.
not glad it happened because it sucks. It sucks not only to be in that situation, but it must also suck for her too because now
Oh
her
my
name's
God.
put out there,
Yeah.
and she's
Oh,
most
honey.
likely gonna be blacklisted from like other orchestras.
Why do you think that?
Just because, let's be real. Like you have, I say let's be real. When you think about the classical world, just like any other section, like there are still people who are gonna be in power, and it's kind of like the whole like, especially when you go to like Hollywood and like, there's the stigma that like you're gonna have like you're.
If
like,
you're,
Well, you think from a money standpoint, like advertisers pull out of movies and like sponsors pull out of events if there are people involved that are, controversial.
right.
well,
So-
and that's mostly because of the Me Too movement right now.
Right.
Mm.
Because like you could say, well, there was a time, like especially with I forgot her name, the woman who was on Medium, who played Alison Dubois on Medium. Something happened to her, and she became she was labeled problematic,
Right.
and she just didn't get any jobs for like years and years because
and that's an unfortunate truth in this day and age.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's
well,
the
in
same.
the past day and age, and now the Me Too movement is happening, and I think she's very much a part of that. Something I don't know. Look her up. Alison Dubois.
No, I mean.
But maybe we need one for music. Me Too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like because I feel like Me Too is definitely, but I feel like Me Too. As much as it really was there in the beginning, like it's still relatively new. Mm-hmm. It's a newer movement if you think about it, in the sense of like media.
Because I think now because there was a period of time where it was rape scandal after rape scandal after rape scandal after rape scandal, and now it's just more of a necessity than anything else. Because these girls got to be protected. Somebody's got to.
Somebody's got to protect.
Right.
Something.
I mean, it doesn't matter who knows at this point. Like somebody's got to know because it's definitely not moving up. Like, nothing's being done about it, besides the people who are part of the movement that are trying to end it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's it.
Yeah. I also listened to Chris D'Elia's podcast, Congratulations, and he said on there at some point he believes that the Me Too movement has to happen in every industry of entertainment and even just business. Like, that it's happening everywhere. It's not just in Hollywood. It's just we need to be more vocal, and Hollywood is maybe the most vocal right now.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, man.
Yep.
But I think it's on to me.
Yes.
Are you done with yours?
Okay.
All right.
We got serious first in this half of the podcast. Right now, yours is sad, right?
For story number 2. Okay. Singer James Arthur urges more mental health support in music.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Avicii unfortunately killed himself.
It's bad.
That's very bad.
Yeah.
And that's not the only one.
Yep.
That's happening to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's very specific to the music industry in a way. This idea of like, because you think about like I've been doing, like even at the end of a session with our band, you feel kind of drained.
Oh,
don't you?
yes, 100%.
Because like at the beginning, you usually do like 5-hour, 6-hour sessions.
Yeah.
And after the end of that 5 or 6 hours, you just feel like it's a weird level of like being creative for that long.
Yeah.
For a very like very set stretch of time. And then getting very little reward, like very small chunks of things come together at a time.
Yeah.
And you feel like you just want to die. And I think that's
what's going on.
Wait a minute.
Yikes.
Wait, Cameron.
What? No.
Is this your confession?
Our band
No, I wanted to pull it into.
Die.
I wanted to pull that statement into like people are killing themselves because of this.
Oh,
not
okay.
like I personally
Please
actually
don't
want to
die.
die.
Cameron, you
And
pretty much.
if you actually do want to
push
die,
our
tell
band
somebody or
forward.
call the suicide hotline.
Yeah,
please.
call the suicide hotline if you feel that.
But I was doing it as a play on words because I like English. And then, but it doesn't stop there, which is interesting because you've done the creative part and you've made the songs, and now it's time to play it to people. You know, like whether it be like, even if it's just streaming, even if it's like not streaming at all and just gigging like public.
Oh God.
It is so easy to become overwhelmed, and I think you don't realize it until it's too late.
I really believe there's just not enough support for musicians. Like, it's very much like, oh, you want to be a musician and not like a welder? Well, then you have to do everything.
Everything right.
You have to do everything, and you have to do it all right.
And it also depends on what type of musician you want to do.
And I think it's all of it, honestly. If you want to be a rapper, you have to build yourself up from the bottom. If you want to be a classical musician, you have to be playing since you were -4 years old. You know? And if you haven't been, then you're fucked. And that's it.
And if you want a job making $8 an hour, you need to have 5 years experience.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy to get overwhelmed because it's like, if you're just a band and you're like, oh, I just want to be gigging, you have to be gigging all the time to make a living.
Right.
If you want to be just a streaming musician, you have to be making music all the time.
living
To make a living.
To make a living is generous because a lot of musicians
sorry.
do it and they ain't making a living.
No, sorry, to live.
To live is
There you
more
go.
like it.
Yeah.
To live off music. That's how most musicians are living, I think.
Yes.
In my head, that is my idea of the average musician, where they barely have a place to live and food to eat.
Yes.
Because they believe in their creativity so much, and that they can do it so much, that they are willing to suffer
Yep.
every single day
Yep.
just to go to a shitty bar at night and play for like 8 people.
Even if you want to be a teacher, if you want to teach in somebody's house, you have to teach 6 kids a day, every day, all day, dealing with somebody else's kids or something, or a public school teacher. They have their
And public
hours.
school teachers are the ones that really get the short end of the stick.
Insane.
If you're doing private lessons, you can at least
Make some money.
make your own rates
Yeah.
and figure out what's going to work best for you. You answer to not you
Yep.
if you're working for a public school system. So
Yeah, no.
it's
You have a boss, and it's not you.
and it's the government,
Yep.
really, in all actuality, because that's where a lot of your funding's coming from.
And if you're a music teacher, the government in America don't give a shit about you. They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
And like, I don't know, like there's so many, like when you really think about it, like as a traveling musician and like a lot of these people who make music because they struggle
Yep.
with anxiety and depression, and then they have to go and live in it.
Yep.
Like Avicii must have. I mean, I can't imagine what that felt like if he eventually drove to the point of him killing himself. What did every night feel like for Avicii? It must have been hell, because like I've never had that thought. So I don't know if he had problems in the past, but like it seems crazy to me that even after all I've been through, I haven't had a thought of like, well, I just want to end it all now. How am I going to fix all this?
Well, you can't really compare your life to somebody else. I mean, we don't know Avicii's struggle. I mean, I have had that thought, you know, and you know, I have my own mental issues, and sometimes it's just a chemical imbalance. That's what I believe. Some people don't think that about depression, but you know, it's just your life is everybody's life is different, and everybody's struggles are different.
And how you respond
How
to
you
a
respond to them.
situation.
Yeah, how you
is all
respond to stuff
different.
is very
Because I think what ends up happening, it kind of stems from like your childhood. A lot of people don't realize like your developmental like years are so important to how you're gonna grow as an individual.
Yes.
If you've lived through trauma, all you're going to know is trauma.
But the thing about that is, a lot of people say it gets better, and when you look at the life of a
Of that
musician
person,
or a musician that we can expect, if I were to look at a kid today, and I mean, I would say it does get better because I want them to believe that.
The hope.
I want to give them hope, but like, because hope is where music comes from, you know, like
Hopefully.
hopefully.
For a lot of people, it's the light at the end of
For
the
a lot of
tunnel.
people,
You know, like for
you
a
know,
lot of people, like that's
you make
what you
music-
do it for. That's what you do it for first, before anything else.
Yeah, exactly. But if I were to look at somebody realistically who said that they wanted to be a musician, I would say do it, but
Be wary.
be really aware
And
and be smart.
Like, I've heard people try and give the argument that you shouldn't have a backup plan. Like, if you're going to be a musician, you just ride it hard.
I don't know about that.
Like, I've been told that sometimes, because there are people who think I'm good, and I appreciate that. It's just, like, it's so hard to believe.
Yeah.
Like, the chances are just so minuscule of anything, like, really, really, really productive. Because, like, it's so strange, like, I don't know. You're either, like, here on the music spectrum being 1, or here on the music spectrum being 10.
Yeah.
Like, even if you play in a wedding band, you're considered, like, 10.
Yeah. I mean, if for that
Hopefully.
level, it's, I don't know. I like to take the point of view that leads me to happiness, which is that everybody's somewhere on the music spectrum, and they're gonna move some way,
Somewhere.
and they're gonna, if you keep doing it, you're gonna get better. You just are. And some days it's not gonna feel like it.
Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. And
Not
if
perfect.
it's,
Practice makes progress.
you're right. But if it's something that you want to do, then do it, because you're an adult and you do what you want to do.
Unless you're a child.
unless you're a child. But
In which
even
case
if you're
I
a
would
child
imprint
and
on you.
If you want to do music and you're a child, like that's
just
the
to do
time
it.
to do music. Oh my god.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
that's the time you're going to get the best.
Well, yeah. And
Isn't
like,
that weird?
that is so weird. Yeah, it is really
Like,
cool.
that is the time where you're going to be better
You're gonna be
than
better.
you'll ever be later. Like,
That's
you'll never
true.
learn more
No, that is really
than you
weird.
do when you're a child learning music.
Because
like,
children learn
Develop.
so quickly.
and if you drill it into their heads in the beginning,
Yeah.
that's how you make them really good later on.
Cameron is gonna force all of his children to learn the piano so bad.
Well, I'm going to see what they like first.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'm gonna have the house is there's gonna be instruments, and they're gonna be sitting pretty. I'm gonna take good care of them,
Yeah.
and I might put some in the kids' rooms. I'm not gonna force it on them, but they'll be there.
The kids are gonna go out.
They're gonna be
They're gonna want
sitting
to play
pretty
football,
and ready.
and they're gonna come back to like their room, and there's gonna be a guitar on their bed or something.
Yeah.
Like instead of a Bible verse or something.
Oh my god, the tooth fairy got you a good ukulele! Like, wow, that's crazy, right?
Oh my god!
I'll just put that right here
Look
next
at
to your
this
pillow.
Telecaster, Johnny. Oh my god!
But like, yeah, man, that's wild to think about.
That is
like,
wild.
because I don't think I started young enough. Like, I feel like
No,
I'd be
me neither.
way better because I started at like 10.
Oh.
When'd you
That's not
start?
a bad year.
I started piano at like 6.
Hmm.
But I didn't. I wasn't forced
Mhm.
into it enough. And then viola was like 4th grade, which I
Mhm.
forget what age that is.
Mhm.
It was so funny because my piano teacher was like, "Is she doing other music stuff? Because she's getting like way less shitty." And I was like, "Oh, I started playing the viola, and I started grasping like
Grasping it
theory
because
pretty
you
much."
had that previous. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So I don't know. It was interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, the life of a musician is overwhelming, and the life of a human is overwhelming. And if you do both, it's going to be double overwhelming, and you should,
Even if you're talented, by the way,
even if you're
even
talented,
if you're one of those lucky people,
it's
Must be
never
nice.
easy.
it's
never
still
easy.
not easy. No,
Nothing's
no,
easy.
no, 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 no. Because
No.
when you're talented and you get successful,
Yeah.
then you have a whole other list of problems to worry about.
Exactly.
Avicii was probably
Expectations
very talented, and like, there's a good chance he wasn't worried about like his creativity.
Yeah.
There's a good chance he was worrying about everything else in his life that
Like
gets
fame.
introduced.
Like how fame affects you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it just must have been so much.
It's-
Like, even if he wasn't worried about his skill, he had to have been worried about everything else.
Mhm.
It just must have been hell.
Yeah, I think so. And also, I don't know. I think we should have better mental health in this country, in the world, you know? I think we should be thinking more about our mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sucks. And it's overwhelming, but if you want to do it, do it. Because everything is hard. And everything that you want to do is going to be hard. And, you know, even if you have talent, that's the first step to a lot of hard work that you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's gonna be worth it. Like, you know, the band, I don't ever really feel like, I feel drained after our sessions, but I don't feel like
Exhausted.
I could do it
exhausted.
again.
Yeah, I can do it again. I'm excited for the next time, you know. Yeah. Oh, I think it's me next.
What'd you forget?
Let's take a vow of silence.
It's not that late. Y'all are like,
6. That's so good.
Yeah. Apparently I was okay at the piano. I have no idea. I don't know.
can I taste Malta?
Yes. He's gonna hate it.
Ugh. Never mind.
Aww. Damn.
It smells too much.
That's basically what it tastes like.
Hmm.
It's a little bit sweeter. So, I want to talk about...
It smells like a plantain. It's like,
What's wrong with plátanos?
Oh.
sorry.
So, Ludacris paid for this woman's $375 grocery bill. And,
What a good man.
First off, what the hell is she buying?
well, okay. So let me tell you the story. Also, let me tell you this woman's name. Thera Gwyn Jaramillo.
Say it again.
Thera Gwyn Jaramillo.
Thera Gwyn.
Thera Gwyn. Like theremin. But Thera Gwyn Jaramillo had been
There's a
struggling.
chance you're pronouncing it wrong. It's Theradine.
I'm positive I'm pronouncing it wrong. So she had been struggling on and off since her beloved husband died. of cancer.
Okay, hold on. No,
December
her first
24th.
name is Thera. like Thera, and then her last name is hyphenated. I thought
It's
her
not
first
Thera
name was Thera-Gwyn.
No.
Like
Thera?
Gwyn Dremelo.
Gwyn Jaramillo.
oh, that makes so much more sense. If it's a hyphenated last name, I thought her first name was Thera-Gwyn.
Dremelo.
Dremelo? Dremelo? Say it again? Dremelo. Ah, sure. I don't know.
I don't fucking know. I'm just providing content for you.
Let me agree with you. Yeah, so she'd been struggling on and off since her beloved husband died of cancer in the summer of 2014. There wasn't a part of my life that wasn't destroyed. Emotional, physical, and financial.
Dun, 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 dun.
This has been a pretty sad episode, and I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I just had to, I mean, at this point,
we're
it's
always
just
gonna
like,
have one moment where we just have a really stupid, dark joke.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh no.
Oh, the cat yawned.
Cameron's distracted by my cat again. But her friend stepped in and helped and provided her with a $250 Whole Foods gift card. And now, I don't think this woman actually shops at Whole Foods.
Oh, because it's a Whole Foods?
I'm struggling.
It's expense.
Bitch, I need Whole Foods.
Well, I mean, I don't think she did because...
Who are her bougie ass friends?
Yeah, right? What? If my friend gave
This
me
is
a...
probably in California.
If you gave me a That's true. Maybe there was only one Whole Foods. Like maybe there was only one.
In California?
Maybe where they are, there's only like a Whole Foods around. I don't know. I'm trying to give this woman the benefit of the doubt. But if you gave me a $250 Whole Foods gift card, I would be like, what? I mean, like, thank you, but like, give me a $250 Walmart gift card.
I don't even go to. I go to Publix. What's Whole Foods?
Nah, yeah, okay.
I go to like
Half of their food are like cut. So it's
Aldi and Goodwill.
Are there Aldi gift cards?
I doubt it.
Aldi has the best juices. I'm sorry. Like,
is
they're
good.
oof.
But okay, so I don't think she actually
Goes
shopped
there all the time.
because she bought too much food, and she was like, "This is definitely $250 worth of food." And then she's at the checkout, and then
And it's like way more money.
$375. And she's like, "Oh shit!" So she's like, "Oh, I can't pay for this because I don't have any money. I just have this gift card." So she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go put this food back." And then the dude in front of her is like, "Nah, I'll buy it for you. It's fine." And she's like, "What?" And then he puts like her food back on the thing, blah blah blah. And she's like, "What's your name?" He goes, "Oh, my name's Chris."
Chris. First name Luda. Maybe you heard of me.
But no, she's legit. Like, this is in the
How do
article.
you not notice Ludacris though?
Ludacris is.
She apparently was a fan, but she
So
didn't
she's a fake
recognize it.
fan.
Well, she was just like,
Unless she's
"Oh,
wearing, like,
this angel."
T-shirt.
Well, I think so.
Doesn't Ludacris have? I think I can. I haven't
Seems
looked at
like a
Ludacris
pretty-
in a while. Like I don't just look
Actually,
at
that's
Ludacris, but like.
Yeah, I don't know. But she was just like, "No, wait, no. Who are you? Like, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm just a dude." And then he pays for her stuff and he leaves. And then the cashier's like, "Honey, that was ludicrous." And she's like,
Yo,
"What?"
This is so ludicrous.
I'm gonna break this bottle over your head.
Bitch, I'm ludicried. What?
I'm
Ludicry. And she's like, "I'm gonna ludicry." This is so good.
That's a wholesome story.
But you know.
I mean, yeah. But
Well, and we were talking about this earlier. Is like, is this? I was wondering, is this just a PR move? Because like, why would you write an article about this? Maybe
Yeah.
this person is just like.
was there like people around just catching the scene? Like if I feel like it's weird that to think like someone just went up to a news station and was like, "Hey, Ludacris paid for my grocery bill." Like, would
she
you just
wrote-
take that at face value? Did somebody have to go back and look at the cameras to like prove that happened so they could write a story about that? No.
Well, the
It seems
cashier
like
was
somebody
there.
was there watching the transaction happen.
Well, the cashier was there. I'm not gonna say like that's what it was, but like she wrote a Facebook post about it that went viral because everybody was like, "Oh my god,
Did
this is
Ludacris
awesome."
respond though?
I don't think so.
Or has he stayed silent?
I think he stayed
His
silent.
response was the money.
I guess.
Yeah, no.
but-
Ludacris's publicist hasn't responded to CBS News requests for comment.
But what if like Ludacris was there with CBS News?
Mm.
Like
just
they
feel
were just
he
hanging out with
probably was
Ludacris.
there to get some milk.
Yeah.
He sees this lady who clearly looks like she's about to have a nervous breakdown. He's
Yeah,
like,
right.
Bitch,
I mean, just yeah.
just
Why not?
Just
Who cares? You know.
I have the kind of disposable income, you know.
must be nice.
Yeah.
And that's like, you know, that's what I want to do. You know, if I ever make that much money, like that ridiculous amount of money, I'm like, I want to help people. I want to figure out how to help people that way.
Yeah.
Why the heck not? There's no reason not to.
That's wholesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just wanted to lighten shit up. I like to try to have like a wholesome one and then like a serious one.
Right.
Well, like donating is good to do from a business standpoint too, especially if you make your name into like
Tax
a company,
credits.
because you get tax cuts if you like company like LLC yourself, because you can totally do that, like a limited liability company. Like if you make music, like you can put your name as a company, and it'll be like Cameron Gonzalez LLC,
Yeah.
limited liability, and then you can represent yourself as a company, and then all of a sudden like it's like a you represent yourself as a company, and then you can get like company benefits. So, yeah. Also, it's just
Interesting.
good to not have that kind of income. Like people say that you should have no more than like $250,000 in one account just in case something happens.
Really?
Yeah, because like when you have that kind of money, usually you put it into accounts that are high risk, high reward.
So do you think Ludacris was like, man, I have $250,375?
I really need to make sure I'm under that $250,000 mark. I just got this $300 to blow. This lady is my haven.
Oh no.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, it's a wholesome thing. And I saw, and I was like, that's nice, Ludacris. You did a good job, maybe. Or the news is manipulating Sarah.
To think.
What if Ludacris was a total asshole about it?
Yeah, what if you just like,
It's like, bitch, I just want to check out. Take the money. Goddamn. We all know you ain't got money. Jesus.
we all know you ain't got money.
We knew you didn't have money
Poorly.
before you put your things on the fucking. Like, what if he was just like a total dick about it?
We all know your husband did it. Shit.
Oh my god.
Dang.
Oh no.
Oh, that's terrible.
That gave me chills.
Oh.
I'm stunned.
Yeah. Well, Eric, what's your topic?
That was mine.
That was mine.
Wait, are we on the second one?
Yeah.
Aaron's real tired.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking about, because you guys were talking about LLCs. I'm like, ooh, I should get my PA. 'cause
Yeah.
My real estate license.
Yes.
Oh, my second story. Oof. So all of our little barbs out there, Miss Onika, Nicki Minaj herself, she's delayed her Queen release. Again, this is the second time. So
Okay.
for those who don't know, Nicki Minaj was supposed to come out with an album like I think a week ago. Or no, it was supposed to be last month.
I remember seeing an Instagram post where they had all the lineups for everyone who was going to release music this month.
Huh.
And I guess Nicki Minaj is no longer a part of that list.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
basically what ended up happening, she was gonna release it before, but then she says, no, you know what, let me push it back, da 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 da. Now the second pushback, people said her first pushback was basically because Nicki's known for being like a perfectionist. So I'm pretty sure there was stuff on the album because she was releasing stuff like Bed and everything, and everybody was like, So I'm guessing like she probably was like, no, let me scrap this, let me do this again,
Okay.
do it better.
Makes
Now the second time, apparently one of her albums on her yes,
One of the songs on
one of
the
the
album.
tracks, one of the tracks on her album. Sorry, I switched that. I was gonna say one of the albums on her tracks. Her tracks, but I actually had a snippet. Part of it was sampled from a Tracy Chapman song, and
Doesn't say what song.
I don't know specifically. It just says here that
Because if it's Fast Car, I'm gonna cry. Because I love that song.
well, Nikki tweeted and then deleted her original tweet was so there's a record on #Queen that features one of the greatest rappers of all time. Had no clue it symboled the legend #Tracy Chapman. Do I keep my date or lose the record? Oh no, do I keep the date and lose the record, or do I lose the record and keep my date? Okay.
Huh.
Do I keep my date?
Yeah, keep the date for the
Or do I
release, she
lose
means.
the record and keep my date.
Yeah, you
It's
had
the
it right.
same thing.
You had it
but
right.
Yeah.
Basically,
Not bad.
so she didn't specify which
song.
I mean, that these
Yeah.
suspense for the
The album.
Yeah, because you don't want to release too much. Like, it's still confidential.
right.
You
And
don't
it kind of
surprise.
I mean, I don't say that sucks. It's a good thing that she's taking this extra time to like go ahead and get like the permission to like music.
I think it was the right move. Yeah, I think it was the
because
right
let's be real. I mean, first off, this summer there's been so many releases where I'm like, take as much time as possible.
I gotta catch my breath.
Right now, it seems like the release date is actually going to be the 17th of August instead of.
It's not too much longer,
Right,
and I think that it's a work of art. You know, you want it to be out there. I feel like if she were to like cut the album. If she were to cut the track off the album and just release it when she wanted it to be released, that's kind of selfish.
Right.
She did.
Like
She should
have pulled a Beyonce.
Just get it
don't
all
even
ready
say anything.
and don't
just
say
be
a damn thing until you drop it. Yeah.
But Nicki Minaj loves a good. She's a queen of attention. We love her. But
Well, what does that say about like their difference of audience, huh? Like maybe she doesn't believe that she has a big enough audience to do that.
one's a Virgo. That's all I have to say.
Oh.
As a proud Virgo myself. No, I mean it's also like the way that you do stuff. I mean there are two different people. Nicki Minaj and Beyonce are two different people. Okay, Beyonce, Southern Belle.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicki Minaj, she's from New York. We already know. Especially being a New Yorker, like the attitude you have is a lot different than someone who's like from the South. And Beyonce did pageants and stuff like that. Like Beyonce lived a life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Nicki didn't. But
no, they both lived a life.
They lived. Well, I hope so. They're still alive now.
True.
But they live different lives.
Yeah.
Very different.
So it's interesting to see the different personalities because they're both queens in their categories.
Yeah.
But two different lanes.
That's true. You're right. I wish we thought more about these women, like pop women like that, instead of like there's one on top.
Objectifying them.
Right. And objectifying them, yeah.
Which goes into the whole debate. Like a lot of people have been like, say for instance, comparing like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, and I feel like both of those ladies are just like no, because like Cardi B doesn't care about the whole royalty aspect of like being her thing. She's like, I'm doing music to do music,
and that's why people like her.
And that's right, and that's
This was just an opportunity for me. Like that's kind of her attitude,
right? Which is a good thing, and I feel like it sucks because in that style of music, especially when it comes to rap, like you can only have someone who's on top. But I feel like that only applies to women because look at how many men are just roaming around, just doing their own thing, and nobody's like, oh, he's the king of rap, or he's the king. Like,
it's a male-dominated field. It's a boys' club. Yeah.
Right, and so when it comes to women, like you have to be the best of the best to be recognized, and I think that's shitty.
Stupid. Yeah, that's going back to the Grammys thing that we talked about last week. I think a couple hours ago for us, but last week for y'all. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
But yeah, hold on. But fans should say it until the day Queen's release. Here's her full message, my darlings. I have a huge surprise and I can share it to the day. Basically, long story short, yeah. And so a lot of people are. I mean, there's been a debate. Everybody's kind of 50-50. She even did a poll on Twitter to see.
That's cool.
That's
that she was able to
get the
That's
votes
really
in.
cool, actually. Yeah.
And so she wants to see, and it literally was 100% like 50-50. Like if you look.
Wow. Yeah. Holy crap.
So
and not only
and there's 135,000 votes. So for it to be that neck and neck,
that's crazy.
That's a tough choice.
Yeah.
But I think her delaying the album was the right choice.
This is definitely the right choice.
In my
because one, she can release it, and then lose that one.
But it's missing that piece, and it's only as strong as its weakest link.
Exactly. And then everybody's gonna be like, well, what was it the whole time? Like the whole time.
And if she releases it later, it's just gonna look awkward.
Yeah.
Because normally you release singles before the album comes out, and then if you release it afterward, it's like, oh, does she have a new album? It's like,
deluxe version.
Nope, I don't.
True. Well, dang.
But yeah, that was my positive message for the day. I mean, it's good that now as artists, like you have the ability. One, it's great that she had the ability to like actually ask her fans. I feel like a lot.
That's fantastic.
I feel like that's something that's really interesting about like artists nowadays versus back then. I mean, you had artists who, yes, they had more freedom. Like they created what they believed was like their thing. But it's great to be able to like get the fans' perspective on the type of art. Not saying like, I feel like that stops the creative process to an extent, but I also feel like if you have like ride or die fans, like they're not gonna care too much. Yeah. They're gonna still listen to whatever you put just because one, it's you doing your own thing. Yeah. But it's interesting to still have that. It feels like it's more personal. Like you feel like you have a say and like, okay.
And I don't listen to Nicki Minaj a lot, but what I've listened like, you know, to her, like, from features and shit on Should I Listen
That's
To.
all she does.
That's really all she does? She doesn't do
I
albums.
love my queen, but she's
She
a
only
feature
ever
queen.
does features.
That's probably a good topic to talk about, is why are female rappers always features
Yeah.
and their albums come out and it's not as big as like male albums that come out. That I mean,
Well, that goes into the whole male versus female.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is so.
Or cis male versus female. I'm sorry.
And then cis, S-I-S, female. All right, so. All right, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, everybody.
This
is my formal apology. But no, like, from somebody who does listen to her, is she normally this interactive with her fans?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is not the personality that she
this
puts
is
forth in her music.
See,
to
here's
me.
the thing.
I don't know.
This is something recent because Nicki fell off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew where the fuck this bitch
After
was. She pulled a
Anaconda, I didn't
Beyonce.
give
She
a
just
shit.
nothing.
it's like that meme where it's like they like slowly fades.
That's 100% what happened. So now I think what it
Yeah.
is that the fans were hungry, and she's just like, I'm back. I'm here, and I'm gonna try my best to, like, you know, interact. And I feel like that's. Here's the thing about Nicki, and it kind of, I mean, this is coming from a New Yorker. I feel like us as New Yorkers, we give off this energy where, like, we come off as a little bit harsher or a little bit more, like, better than you, even though that's not necessarily the case. It's just the way that, especially New York being so, I'm not saying toxic, but, like, the New York mentality is very much,
Competitive.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to do my own thing, you need to get out of my way. Like, I hate Florida drivers or people on the sidewalks because I'm the type of bitch, I will move you, like, move. But that's just
Forcefully, 80 miles an hour.
It's
care.
terrifying.
But-
He will drive you around. You'll be terrified the whole goddamn time.
Okay, don't
No,
drive me.
you don't drive.
No, but and so it's interesting that you say like how like I mean you're not a listener,
Yeah.
which is fine. I don't listen to everything Nicki puts out, but at the same time, it's like stuff that she does resonates with me.
Right. Well, that and
I
actually,
mean, some of
New
the
York.
stuff I'm just like, girl,
Yeah.
a little problematic.
Wow. Okay.
But like
the,
at least through her,
the New York
music.
mentality is something that I really love. Like I for some reason, I make really fast friends with people from New York. Aaron. And other people
Long
from
Island, Garden City, what's up?
and people from like Miami or just people that will like just walk up to you and be like, "We're friends now." I'm like, okay.
But
Real
that's
go-getters.
we're aggressive like that.
Yeah, and I like that aggressiveness actually in our friendship because it's like,
And you always feel like
Feel
it's a
good.
decision that was made on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what the intent was, you feel very motivated
yeah,
when you're around those kinds of people.
yeah, that's true.
No, but yeah, no, definitely. So I feel like, especially when it comes to her music, sometimes she does come off a little bit like crazy. Like when Nicki first came out,
Yeah.
She was slaying.
Oh, dang.
I mean, she had a full gaga,
She did.
like
yeah.
just outfits, everything
Rocking the
crazy,
world.
da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay, we get it. It's the character. She had, you know, Roman. She had, you know, like she had all these people, Elizabeth. But now I feel like she's starting to refine herself a little bit more. She's trying to go from being that character to who is Nicki, and I feel like
Nicki,
the
yeah.
purpose of this Queen album is to really show who she is, because a lot of times people only think of Nicki through her character of this crazy girl. She
Like
has
sexual-
ass shots,
yeah.
you know, like hourglass figure, you know, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, yeah, that's an aspect of her.
Aspect. Yeah.
That's an aspect of her,
Yeah.
but that's not who she is at her basis. Like if you've seen, like there was a video I remember of like Nicki like singing back when she was in high school. I don't remember what she was singing like some song, and this is like pre-operation skinny mini ain't got nothing going on Nicki, where it's like you saw who she was. She's a comedian. She's a theater.
Huh.
She was a theater kid.
Wow.
She did a lot of acting and stuff. So
That's
it's just
great.
it's interesting to see how there was that person to go into this character to play this role and to now try to shift back into who you are as an individual.
Do you think she had to play this character to get as big as she
Yes.
is? Wow.
Because I mean,
Fuck
you have to think about it. I mean, I feel like at the time that she came out, because I mean, Nicki came out like what 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Where in 2000, especially like the early, I won't say early 2000s, everything before 2010, like
Yeah.
everybody was crazy. It was still very much like, you know, like big costumes and
Yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah.
this is like again, Lady Gaga has just like came
Sure,
out a
sure.
couple years prior.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing all these crazy stuff. Like in order to compete with that, you have to go crazy.
You had to
Yeah.
show
Now,
up.
Right, and now I feel
Yeah.
like there's this minimalist movement going on where people are kind of just.
God, I
They're retreating
love it.
back into themselves, and it's very like I was talking about before, that whole introspective look on music now.
It's
Like people are putting out a
so-
lot of introspective lyrics
Right.
It's so
and a lot of
thoughtful.
introspective
It's so
music.
mental, and I really love it. I really love pop music right now because
Mhm.
it's so it's not
It's more
physical
personal.
anymore. It's personal.
It's a good
and
time to be a
it's-
pop artist. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, that's very true. You're right. So you guys want to do the song of the week and then wrap it
Yeah.
up? Cool. Who wants to start?
Well,
I can
then we
start.
might as well start with
Or with Kim?
Cameron.
Start with me again.
Mhm.
Oh gosh. The song of the week I talked about last time. What was it? Remind me? You don't remember?
It's been a whole week.
It's true. To me, it already feels like it's been a week because I have a bad memory.
Okay, Dory.
I had talked about before.
You were talking about.
Hmm.
It was it was one artist. No, it wasn't. Not 21 Pilots.
Yeah, it was 21
Was it
Pilots.
21 Pilots?
Was it 21 Pilots?
No,
21
you
Pilots.
mentioned 21 Pilots, but
I
then you also talked
mentioned-
about
Oh man.
This is great
well,
content.
when you guys watched
Yeah.
last
Why don't
week's
you
episode,
remind me
Remind
write it
us
down
in the comments
yeah,
below.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Because I talked about the Freudian album that I liked. I talked
Oh,
about.
wait, hold on.
Oh no, I talked
The
about the
Gorillaz.
Gorillas.
It was the
That's what I
Gorillaz, yeah.
talked about.
You're right.
You did.
Yep. I talked about the Gorillas. I talked about their new album, The Now Now. And man, I don't know what a good one to talk about is because I'm listening to a lot of stuff. There's been a resurgence in electronic music. I know y'all don't listen to a lot of electronic music.
No, not really.
Do you listen to a lot of electronic music? Do
Oh,
you like
yeah.
listening to Louis the Child? Have you heard of him?
I've heard a couple.
He's been releasing a lot of really, really good songs. He has that very, he recently released a song with Quinn XCII or whatever his name is. He came up with a song, I think it was called Paradise, that I really liked. And now they're doing a collab. And I hadn't heard Quinn in so long, and they did this collab with Louis the Child. And it's very cool how they're making their beats. The sound production on these is just skyrocketing. I mean, digital sounds are becoming such these like warm just soundscapes. I mean, like if you spend enough money, these sounds like really in a lot of like synths nowadays, like when you pay more for how easy it is to use. Like you can just load up a preset and it sounds like magic. And like this song that he came out with Charlie, not Charlie. I was thinking Charlie XCX because their names are similar. Quinn XCI.
It's the James Brown, Chris Brown
Yeah,
situation.
James Brown chasing around in the car. You were like, who's the guy that sounds like Chris Brown, but it's not Chris Brown? James
He does not sound like Chris Brown.
Papa's got a brand new name. Okay.
Okay.
Oh man. But yeah, this crazy resurgence in electronic music, now it's becoming so much better than it was so long ago. And like I grew up listening to like dubstep and like really hardcore Skrillex and Excision and Datsik.
Aaron's going down a trip.
This whole podcast.
I-
One big headache.
I loved that shit growing up, and then because I had begun listening to because I liked rock before then I started listening to AWOL Nation, and AWOL Nation had that song Sail that was very dubstep rock influenced, and that got me into dubstep.
Okay.
So this whole dubstep point in my life, and then I dropped dubstep after I started listening to rap music, and then after I had gone through this Jay-Z Eminem phase, I moved back into electronic music, and then that's when I got into like 21 Pilots and stuff.
Are you laughing at Jay-Z Eminem face?
No, I'm envisioning you and Eminem just like.
No, yeah, like, but that's like the kind of rap I listen to with my friends, because like they didn't really listen to like rap, but like they can connect with Eminem because he's white, you know. Can we talk about how Eminem sounds now? Yikes!
I haven't heard
I
anything.
haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
You haven't heard anything of his new EPs and stuff like that?
No. Is it Yikes?
Is it hashtag X?
It sounds like someone trying to do an impression of Eminem. It's really funny.
Really?
Yeah, Eminem sounds so much different because before I feel like his voice was so much more confident, but now it's like very nasally, and he's rapping very fast, and it's like blah, 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 and it sounds like someone had turned his pitch up by like a couple semitones.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know if anyone resonates with that, but like when I heard that, I was like, whoa, like Eminem's different now. Like he rebranded his voice. You know what I'm saying? Like. But anyways, back to electronic music and that song. It uses a very cool rhythm that I like. Like I listen to a lot of John Bellion, and I listen to a lot of like a lot of people are using like that very laid back drum beat. Like if you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, it's like 1, 2, and 3, 4. Like they're using these really weird subdivisions in between, like halfway between like an eighth and a 16th, where they'll drop like a kick drum or a snare in a weird spot.
Yeah.
So like it's very straight on for counts 1 through 3, and then at the end of 4, it's like this very weird like lurching that moves you into the next measure, and it gives you a sense of like it dragging, but it's still moving at the same time.
Is that something that you build like in like a drum track like on a computer, or is that
no? It's supposed to imitate real drums. That's why people
that's
do
what
it.
I was trying to get at.
It's supposed to imitate, but you can do it in a drum editor. But a lot of people like John Bellion will do it where he has a drum sample and he'll have a straight-on thing playing, and he'll fill in his own drum fills on a drum pad and leave it as MIDI, and that's not unquantized at the end. So it's this weird lurching feeling at the end of every measure, and you just feel like this different sense of groove that you would normally feel for something that's like 4 on the floor. So it's very cool stuff that's coming out, and I really like the groove.
That's really interesting.
And it's very melodically interesting.
Oh, good.
Like they're like I'm hearing a lot of songs now that are getting more into man, how would I describe it? Like in a key, like you know how if it's like in a major key, like instead of a major 4, they go to a minor 4.
Yeah.
Just to give like a different feeling, even if it's not explicitly.
From, like, a mode or
yeah, if they'll borrow from a mode, or they'll like substitute a chord for something that's just completely out of the key, just to give dramatic effect. You know, they're using a lot of chromatic stuff. Like they'll go down in the bass line, but have jumping melodies up here, and it sounds really cool.
That's so interesting to me because, like, you know, you go through all 4 levels of theory and you learn how to analyze that, but like you don't know, like in the room, that's just somebody who made some shit up and was like, this sounds cool, I'm gonna put it in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's how a lot of the best stuff is made. You just like it.
True. You just like it a lot. You don't know where it came from.
But being able to access that kind of thinking in your head is important. Yeah. That's why music theory is important. That's the short answer. I can go more into that. But
take music theory, kids.
Yeah, seriously, do it.
Really?
It might open your eyes. You might like it.
Open your brain to all the music that you hear.
Yeah, seriously. Your third's cleft.
Sometimes he does that and it freaks me out. TBH. Sometimes he'll just like evil laugh and it catches me off guard.
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. But yeah. Louis the Child. Because I liked them before. They made this cool song called Weekend. And it was like really catchy, and I liked it a lot. And then they came out with one of my favorite songs now is called Better Not. Oh my god.
You better.
Oh my god.
You better not. You better not. And it's like the drops are so much different now. Like drops are becoming like anti-drops, and I like it because it's almost like irony in electronic music. Because like now they have these big build-ups, and then like it'll drop out, and then it's a completely different synth that comes in, but it's really quiet and plinky, and then they'll just add like this drop bass to it, so it's like this really weird contrast between like these sissy ass synths in the front, and then this like pounding fucking bass drum in the back, and it sounds really cool. I really like it personally.
Okay.
It's my cup of tea. I love that kind of contrast. So, a lot of cool stuff coming out with Louis the Child. I would say check him out.
I'm gonna say Ham and Eggs by Tribe Called Quest. I mentioned it before, but it's so like, I don't know, it's just like a refreshing old school rap.
Yay!
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's like, you know, you're in a room and everybody's trying to like freestyle, and you're just like, it's just, the energy is really high, and you're just rapping about stupid shit, and that's just how it makes you feel. It's really happy, and it's just kind of like, you know, I went to the hat store and bought a hat, and it's like, oh shit, Where's this
Then
shit
after
gonna go?
that, I pet a cat.
And everyone's like, oh fuck. It's just like, oh shit, he just rhymed
Oh my god!
to the beat, and it's so fun.
Birds. Boom, gay.
Bars. It's so good.
Scoop-de-doo. Scoop-de-doo.
But no, go back and listen to it. It's real good. It's just happy and fun, you know. It's back to a time when everything was nice and not on fire. You know. That's it. I just like it a lot, honestly.
Just a happy song.
It's just a happy song and you should listen to it.
Wow. I hate to be like that person again, but I have two favorite songs. I guess this week. I'm so extra. I got two different type of vibes. My first favorite, since we're talking about Miss Onika, she recently did a song with 6ix9ine called Fifi. Now I'm not really into his rap too much, but it's just when Nicki comes in.
Is it good?
And like my thing about Nicki, and the reason why I do like her as an artist is because she's the type of artist. No offense, she could like give you a shitty song, but her rap would just be like.
It's
All right.
so good.
Like,
yeah.
The rest of it I'm not here for.
The conviction
for
is
Nicki's.
and I think like.
And she's just really good with her dictation and everything. It's just like okay.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I was listening to Bang Bang by Jessie J because like that's such like a female empowerment goddamn song. But like
Is Nicki the bubblist?
Yeah, right. All right, but no, like her rap part in that is so fucking good. It's just
She went ham.
She did.
She went ham and eggs.
She went ham and eggs.
Ham and eggs. I don't eat no ham and eggs
And 2
because they
sausage
high
patties on the side.
in cholesterol.
Both. But yeah, so definitely listen to that. And then my second song, which is kind of a little is Hand Clap by Fitz and the Tantrum.
Oh, I love Fitz.
hand
I listened to that song on repeat. Like I think today I probably listened to it like 5
Fitz and the Tantrums are so good. Their first album was fantastic. Like with Money Grabber. Oh my god. I don't know what's happening.
What time is it?
No, because I haven't thought about that song in so long, and I'm like, that song gets me so jazzed. I love that song.
Right, but
So
like same,
good.
like I'll be at the gym and I'm just like, yeah.
And for a band that has like no
Their
strings in
hands
it, they're oh my god. I don't know. I'm a string person, so I'm like I can't believe like I like a band that is just their whole vibe is no strings. We don't want any goddamn
No strings
in it.
attached.
No strings attached. That's what they should have been called.
He did that and the lights flickered. I thought that was amazing.
I have powers, dude.
We caught it on tape.
I'm magical.
We did.
We did.
But yeah, very good song. It's good beats.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, dab.
Dab.
Stab out. Malta sponsor us. I love you.
Essentia
I'm gonna keep
water
doing
sponsor
this.
us. Essentia and Pellegrino. I love Pellegrino.
I don't care. Malta. Malta sponsor us.
Okay.
I want
That's
I want
okay.
Malta to be our first sponsor.
But yeah, but I mean that's this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. Yet again, like us on our Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube, hit that notification bell. We'll let you guys know. We're thinking of probably posting every week
Ring the
on
bell.
Sundays, so get that.
Yep.
Thank you guys for all your support, your love, everything. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Woo!
All right?
Peace out, people.
Peace out, bitch.
Thanks, Dictation Nation.
Dictation Nation.
Yeah.
That's
I was
cool.
gonna say dictators, but I'm like, that.
No.
We don't stand for that,
No,
really.
I don't stand for that.
Dictation Nation.
Dictation Nation.
Or Artation Tots. I was gonna go with Tater Tots.
No.
Okay.
No. Dictation Nation.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
All right, goodbye.